I just didn't have it on good enough. I don't hear myself. Okay.
All right, if everyone please stand, we'll do the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Morgan Township meeting, November 8th, 2021, 7 p.m. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the Morgan Township Board of Trustee minutes dated October 25th, 2021 as written.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment listing from 10/26/2021 through 11/8/2021. Payment number 790-2021 through 825-2021. Warrant number 10977 through 10987, 10988, 10989, 10990, 10991, 10992, and 10993 are all voided. And then warrant number 10994 through 11014 for a total of $66,970.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
How can you do that again? No cents. It was even dollars.
I get a prize, right?
And we got new checks. I saw that.
Yes, did you like them?
11,001 was a new
Yes.
check.
Yes, it
I don't
was.
like it as well, because on the back it used to have the number.
Right,
And when I flipped it over, I could see that, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
didn't miss a
No,
check.
they don't have a number printed on the back, but they do have the statement.
Right. Yep, it is nice.
Lenore set those up.
Thank you, Lenore. Okay, sorry.
Anyone from the audience?
We like that.
Anyone from the audience got anything tonight? If not, Mr. Galloway.
Okay, I'll start on the administrator report. Reference to the American Rescue Plan, we're still building that additional wish list for legal opinion from the law firm. We've identified a couple of more things, but we haven't brought those to their attention yet. Excuse me. So there is one of the points in the American Rescue Plan for loss of revenue. We have talked about this before. I had Chief Griffith today run some numbers because the snapshot is a year before the COVID, so the snapshot is the year of 19. So in your packet, you'll see the EMS billing. The snapshot of it in 19 was $89,817.30. The snapshot for this year, excluding the month of December, is going to be $66,000. So that's roughly about $11,896. There's a calculated spreadsheet that we can plug in the numbers, confirm those with Tina, and that is the method they use for loss of revenue. And so this is the documentation that we have, and like I said, Chief's got the spreadsheet. He's going to go over it with Tina to plug the numbers and make sure that this is the money that we received in those past years. But today we read the policy again, and it's snapshots from 19. So anything 19 is your snapshot year, and then you look at what you lost in 20, you look at 21, 22, 23, and 24, those years, and they're year to date, so for loss of revenue. Which then brings me, Tom, to the community center, which probably would be the same thing with you and Tina.
I'll have to go back and have you pull a report for 19 and
Right.
see
And we have this format that you put the numbers in?
Yep, I'll send it over to you.
Okay.
It's about a 3-page Excel spreadsheet, and it just has the formulas in there. And it's
Okay.
by 4.1, so you take your loss and you times it by 4.1, which is what's the word I want, Chief? The economic percentage of lost over the years of inflation, I guess, and all that.
Right.
And it's by 4.1.
Okay.
So, yep, we have all that, and we ran the numbers today just to kind of show where our
Awesome.
revenues were on the
Thank you.
EMS side. And that's the billing. That is the EMS billing. So. Number 2, Rob, we wrote the grant a couple weeks ago, and Rob turned it in, the 2021 CDBG grant. Rob delivered that to Butler County last week, and that is the repaving of Race Lane. That's been delivered because it was due last Friday. Tomorrow, Rob and I are going to sit down and do the ODOT grant, which is due the 19th, and Rob called me and we talked this afternoon. He pretty much has all the documentation to write that grant, actually pretty much all of it tomorrow. So that'll be happening tomorrow. Third is, I know Tina and I have been kind of talking about this, and she's new to it, so I said I would bring it up tonight. You should have got your packets, Daryl, as well. The 2022 OTA conference in Columbus.
I didn't get a packet, I just saw
It was in the magazine.
Okay, I
It
saw
was
it
in the magazine.
Okay.
You pulled it out.
All right.
Trustee magazine. Daryl, I'll
Okay.
make you a copy.
Got it.
And it's January 26th, 27th, and 28th. And it's kind of as years past. It doesn't have all the breakouts yet. It had a couple of highlighted classes that are in here with the trade show and the reservation. The issue that I was explaining to Tina is on the back of it here is the making the hotel reservations again, if you want to go. The Hilton obviously is the host hotel again, and then the Hyatt across the street. I'm sorry, the Hyatt is the host hotel. The Hilton is the one across the gangway, the Skywalk. So it's $179 at the Hilton and $175 at the Hyatt, the host hotel. I'm sorry, $179 at the Hilton, $175 at the Regency, Hyatt Regency, which is the host. So with that, it's the
Should be the Crown there too. That's usually
the
the one across the
Crown
street.
is not on here. The Drury is in. The Hampton down the street. The Hilton, the Hyatt, the Red Roof, and the Sonesta is
They
on
must
here.
have changed the
They
name of
must
the
have
Crown.
changed that to
I'm
name.
sorry, at the very bottom in the small fine print, formerly known as the Crown.
What is it called now?
Sonesta.
Sonesta.
That's 171. So with that being said, if you want, let us know so we can start. Tina can book the rooms, or we can either one of us book the rooms and get the tickets. They got, like in years past, a luncheon ticket and things like that, but register who's going for it. So I'll make copies. I thought you might have seen it in their book.
Yeah, I got it in the
I'll make
book.
copies and give it to the ones that didn't get it. But it's the 26th, 7th, and 8th of January, again, for the OTA conference.
Okay.
Okay. Next in your packet, so that the historical building was painted. Tina, I forgot to bring the bill over today, but the materials, all the costs, materials, the paint, the other stuff they use is $293, which is less than he roughed it about $500, so it's $293. And then his bill for donated services was $3,000. So here's the letter, if you're good with it, that I wrote today for his tax folks. If you're good with that letter, I will send that off tomorrow to David for the donated services of $3,000 to the township for his tax purposes.
Yep, looks good. Thank you very, very, very much.
And again, thanks to Rob and Mark kind of helped him with the way the weather was going. They kind of helped him by doing the pressure cleaning and getting that up to speed. So, yep. Questions on the admin side?
I don't think so.
All right. Fire chief's reports, and kind of Chief and I are going to really tag team this one tonight. First one off is last Thursday we held our promotional assessment center for our lieutenants and captain candidates. That was last Thursday. The next step is their interview process, which we tentatively picked a date today of December 17th.
7th.
7th, I'm sorry, 7th.
Okay.
Yes, 7th.
I was gonna say, 17th, I won't be here.
I won't be here either. In your packet, you'll see, and I just want to explain a little bit about this, and I think Tom's also going to talk about this. So in your packet, the next one is the folks that came on their own time and were evaluators. So our promotion process is pretty much a professional run one. They took a written test 2 months ago. They did the assessment center Thursday, and then they'll do an interview process, and then they'll go with an interview one-on-one with myself at the end. So these are the chiefs and captains and folks that helped us. And the reason I'm saying this is the company we use out of Florida, they wrote the test. We sent them all the materials, the policies and procedures, everything that we had them test on. They wrote the test. They wrote the entire assessment center with the score sheets, graded it, and then they'll do the same for the questions. And the whole total process was $999. So I found out today that if the state of Ohio fire chiefs come in, they do up to 6 people in assessment center, and it's $6,200. So we saved quite a bit of money in the whole process. And like, if you look at this list here, folks, so Colerain, Chief and I have already gone down there and done free safety officer. We've taught a couple of classes for them in a flip of in-kind services for them. So we did something for them. They did something back for us last Thursday. Ross, they borrowed our tabletops several times and have used the tabletops that we have here. Monroe is City of Monroe is getting ready to use it here. As soon as Chief Centers gets back to work, they're going to take the tabletops and train with it from that's our stuff. Oxford, we've done some stuff. City of Hamilton, I kind of helped them get their vaccination pod up and running and laid that out. So if you see where we've kind of offset all these costs, the whole process cost us $999 versus $6,100 just for the assessment alone. And we did 9 people, and theirs is up to 6 people for that. So again, it was a great process. We definitely had a big busy day here. Right in the middle of it, we got a call as well, and a lot of folks are in here. I know Tom's going to talk a little bit about it, but he was an actor. Connie was an actor. Dale and I kind of marshaled people to rooms all day long, which was challenging when you had 4 rooms going at once. But it's a very good process. It's a process that is very professional and not some of the ones that are in the past of who you knew and you got promoted. So, Tom, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I can jump in here real quick. I just wanted to name the people that were participated, just to give them some recognition in what department they were on. Chief John Deathridge from the City of Oxford, Assistant Chief Dave Leverage from the City of Monroe, Captain Ryan Berger from Westchester, Assistant Chief Matt Schuman from Fairfield Township, Fire Chief Steve Miller from Ross Township, Chief of Police from City of Oxford John Jones, Captain from the City of Oxford Fire Department, Captain Jay Fields, Chief Tim Thomas from Fairfield Township, Assistant Chief Chris Johns from Ross Township, Battalion Chief Shane Packer from Colerain Township, Deputy Chief Jay Wirtz from City of Hamilton, Assistant Chief Tim Eichelberger from City of Hamilton, and Chief Alan Walls from Colerain Township. So we had a lot of heavy hitters here, a lot of chiefs. And I heard it not once but numerous times that this process really excelled from what they have available to them from the State of Ohio Fire Chief Committee. And like Chief said, it's like 1/6 of the cost, and we doubled the amount, almost doubled the amount of people that we put through the process. We did 2 sessions. One was for a lieutenant promotion, and the other one was for captain. We had 5 for lieutenant and 4 for captain. This is the 3rd time I've been through this process for chief, for the promotions of officers in our department. And first time I got to admit, when I heard the cost, I thought, wow, this is pretty high. And I wasn't really on board, and I sat through the process, and I thought, we're still doing all the work, but I didn't really get a handle on all the pre-work that this company in Florida actually does. I mean, we send them our policies, we kind of tell them some incidents that we've had, and they build a scenario. It's really remarkable. But what really made me become a strong believer in this process was it got challenged. We promoted one of our individuals on our department, and it got challenged. And I took it to, I think my mic just died. Yep. Hang on. I took it to the Butler County Prosecutor's Office, laid out the whole program, showed them the testing, the results, everything, and I was told, thumbs up, you have nothing to worry about. we can defend this. So we went ahead with our process because we actually put it on hold when it was challenged. And so for $999, I think it's money well spent, and, you know, hats off to our department, because everyone, even though they're members of our department, said they've never gone through anything like this. People that were evaluators, role players, and everything else in the process said they've never seen anything like this. So it was very, very intense. So also I want to, those were the high hitters, not that these people aren't any less important, but we had Greg Brooks, Butler County Emergency Management, Connie Reinhardt, and again, he mentioned Dale Marshall, all participated. It takes a lot of people, and we really, I mean, it was well organized. So hats off to Chief and AC for pulling it together. So hopefully we get a captain and maybe a lieutenant or two. So thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you. Okay, number 2. Metro Parks will be doing a prescribed burn tomorrow at Salamander Run on Lehigh. And yes, I know before somebody says that in there a burn ban on, yes, there is, but they go through the state process through ODNR. They have to fill out all kinds of permits. They brought me their burn plan several months ago for me to approve it. And because they have to burn in certain windows where it's ideal and the conditions are right, they are allowed to do that during a burn ban. But they went through the whole state process. So we will be assisting them tomorrow with a brush truck, and the engine will be down there in the area of Rebecca Ridge and kind of up on Lehigh by the trailer park, monitoring that tomorrow. It's supposed to be somewhere around 65 acres is what they'll be doing, and that starts about 1 o'clock tomorrow. So just FYI on that. And we'll post something on our Facebook page in the morning and all that, and possibly even put a nixel out there.
I was going to say,
Put a
put it on
nixel out
nixel
there
as
as
well.
well, that there'll be a burn going on tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to jump down to the POs here for a second, both me and Chief, and then Chief's got his report in the center. While I was gone, I was in Louisiana, the charger for the light pack batteries for our defibrillators, it died, and we had to have an emergency replacement of those, and Chief contacted 2 trustees, got that. It's in your packet just to approve it. There was a approval then verbally, but Tina wanted to have a PO set tonight, so that one is in your packet. It says up at the top invoice and Stryker, and that one is for $1,268.15. And by the way, Stryker sent us overnight a loaner so we could charge the batteries for the light pack, so we had no way to charge those batteries without that charger. So they sent a loaner until they could get a new one that we ordered. So that PO is, it's already been happened, but it was for 12.
So we don't have to do, we do a then
We
and now?
need a resolution.
We don't need a then and now?
No.
All right,
But I need a resolution for
all right.
that.
I'll make a motion for a PO to Stryker Medical in the amount of $1,268.15 for the charging station for our life pack.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
And then the second one, Chief, I'm going to let Chief talk about, we applied for a state EMS grant, and that's the second Stryker you'll see in there where it says at the top left, Morgan Township Batteries Light Pack. Chief, you want to let them know about the EMS grant that you received?
So, as I told you before, we received approval for an EMS grant for a little over $3,200 that has to be expended by December 31st. It's a very specific things that we can buy, no disposables. So one thing that we need to replace, which is a savings to us because we use the grant, are the batteries. It just happens to be coincidental. It's the batteries that go in that charger. But we have 3 defibrillators. They take 2 each. And so to have a supply of fresh batteries, I'd like to order 4. Fully reimbursed on the State of Ohio EMS grant for the sum of $1,212.84. There'll be no cost to the township. It's just using the grant money.
So moved.
Thank you.
Me.
You're
Cole.
first? Okay. Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
There's no way we can get the charger on that grant?
No, that is how
Because that's-
specific it is.
Okay.
But I'll have expended all that. This IO needles and a couple other things we'll have expended the grant.
Okay.
Okay, Chief's got 3 items that he's going to go over. Any questions for me tonight before Chief does his 3 items?
We still need PO numbers for these 2 items in, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they both need a resolution.
Okay.
But you have POs already, correct?
I have a PO for the first one, but not the second.
Not the second one. But the resolution numbers are what Lenore
Yeah.
issues. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, Chief.
Okay, first thing
Chief
is I've been on a year-long quest to change the name of the fire department with the state of Board of EMS and the state fire marshal's office. The state Board of EMS was very easy. I just filed a form and they said, great, perfect. The state fire marshal's office has been a little more particular about how I achieve their request. So I need a resolution, this is my next chance. I need a resolution from the Board of Trustees authorizing the change from Morgan Township Volunteer Fire Department to Morgan Township Fire Rescue. That's the name that we've become, you see on the squad, you see on Chief's vehicle, to put it in that. And that historically is correct. It used to be when I started as a volunteer, Morgan Township Fire and Rescue. We're just gonna get rid of the and go back to Morgan Township Fire Rescue. But the state is, I'm caught in a bureaucracy and I'm spinning. So my next move is a resolution from the Board of Trustees. If I send the resolution number with the minutes at Lenore, I hope I can make that change with the state. EMS was no problem. The state fire marshal is a little different.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. I hope that's the last time. I hope I can actually, this has been a year-long process. Number 2, I emailed to you the responses for October 20 versus October 21. We continue a trend of less runs, as has been reflected in less EMS billing, which we're going to try to recover, and that's the reason for the American Rescue Plans to recover that. But we're down for the year 43 runs. Our mix continues to be 86% EMS and my UC math 14 fire. Our average response time to a scene is 4 minutes and 44 seconds, which is way within the 90th percentile. Our out-the-door time dropped back down because less mutual aid runs to 1 minute and 16 from the time the tones drop till we have an apparatus out of the door, well below the 90th percentile of 2 minutes and 51 seconds. On the mutual aid side, we did provide 3 transports for Ross Township during this time. They provided 1 transport for us during that time, and that was a car wreck, which we had to call. I had to call multiple agencies, but we have done 3 for them. The rest of those you see on that page are reflected our fire responses that we've been back and forth on. And then the other one you'll see is just a breakdown of, when we get an EMS run, how many are really transported and treated. It's just more of an interest, but that's our numbers. And then also our ALS versus BLS. Any questions on any of that?
Good.
Okay. Last thing I have is I gotta do the history here. COVID report, 88th weekly COVID report. Numbers are back up in the county. This is not unusual to see. They call it the seesaw effect. Numbers drop, numbers go back up. They seesaw before they go down. So we're to 155 cases per 100,000, which is still high spread, and almost 10% of everybody's positive. 45053 still continue to have an increase in COVID cases, just not as much. It was actually 3 less, but still 6 positives in a week. And once again, one more zip code dropped to substantial, which is 45015, which I don't know my zip codes, but they dropped out of the high spread. Along with Oxford, 45056 continues to drop quite rapidly. Deaths are way down, almost no deaths, believe it or not. Hospital admissions are about the same. And there'll be a booster pod this Wednesday, sponsored by the Butler County EMA at the fairgrounds, 10 to noon. You need an appointment, noon to 2, you don't. Is that right, Chief? Did I get that right? 10
Yes, 10 to noon, you have to have appointment. Noon to 2, you do not have to appointment, you can drive up.
They'll have all boosters, and I'll be working that as part of the, with no cost to township. That's paid for by the Butler County EMA. As a vaccinator, they use local EMS folks to supplement their nurses because of the number of lines that we run. So if anybody wants a booster, they'll be there. They'll have every booster, and they'll also give first shots also.
When is that again?
This Wednesday. The fairgrounds. Yeah, Butler County Fairgrounds, they'll have it set up, it's completely drive-through, you don't have to get out of your vehicle. 10. 10 to noon, you need an appointment, noon to 2, you do not. So you can show up noon to 2 and just get in line and get your booster. As long as you meet the criteria that the CDC has set out, which is, it's kind of flexible at best. About anybody meets it if you really want to say it. So anyway, we'll be there vaccinating, and I think that's it unless you have questions of me.
Thanks, Jeff.
And they're also, just FYI, the county has picked a new health director. His name is Eric Blaster. He came from Preble County. He starts mid-November, so they have picked a new health director. And he probably will start showing up to township trustee meetings here in the near future. And no executive session for us tonight.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Brown?
I have two things. First off, is I requesting a purchase order to Best General Contracting for 4 rear drive tires for the F-550, the amount of $1,576.00.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
And the second thing, and probably the most important thing, is I have two, I have 2 people that have said that they're willing to be at call or on call when needed snowplow drivers. I need applications to get to them so I don't have any applications to give to them so they can come and get them on the books or whatever, so.
I believe we got that on the,
We've got one that's really long, and then we shortened it for yours. Do you still have that one? Okay, can you forward that to Rob? We have one that was ridiculously long. I don't know where it came
Is
from.
that the one that was on the internet?
Yeah, it was,
Oh,
it
that
was
was
ridiculous.
retarded.
Yes, we need to, send me it also, and I will put it on the website.
Okay,
Because
all right.
So anyway, I will get those filled out and then bring them to you for next meeting. So we can try to get them on board and stuff, and I'll give you details, all of it then, but until I have their applications, I don't want to say names or anything yet until we have an actual application filled out in-house here, so. And that's all that I have.
thank you. Mr. Marshall?
All right.
Mr. Hopkins as well.
Yeah, and Mr. Hopkins. He will be joining us shortly. Certificates. I gave you the month of October. I'll actually know essentially September, the quarter as it goes today on your sheet tonight, but I'm only going to speak about the last 3, which were issued since the last trustees meeting. There was a roof-mounted solar array, and I want to speak to that too because in a discussion in our zoning commission this past week, they questioned me and whether or not the fire department had this information concerning solar arrays and the batteries around it. And I've since spoken to AC and to Chief on this, and we are working it out. I have a list of names which I put in there today. Those are the addresses, and then I'll get you the other piece that you asked for, which was the location, the site plat, okay? All right. The second one was an in-ground pool with fence. The other one is new construction, which making a total of 67 certificates for the year. 11 of those 67 have been new homes as of today, okay? Then I want to turn to violations. And then I will speak on this and we'll have a discussion. And I bring this to the trustees because of the involvement of Mr. Kolb in the second violation that this particular address gave. But this is its 3rd violation. Someone is living in the house on the portion of the property that is Zone B3. Residents are not permitted in the B3 district as per Article 6.62 of the Morgan Township zoning regulations. Now, you have in your packet the zoning regulations for B3, M1, and M2. If you will follow those with me, in B3, 14.51 says, any use which is first permitted or which is prohibited in M1 district, okay? Then if you will turn to the M1 portion of it, you will be looking at 16 point, wait a minute, I jumped too far, sorry.
15.63.
15.63, dwellings and residents accepting section 15.3, including motels, manufactured home parks, schools, hospitals, clinics, and other institutions for human care, except where incidental to a permitted use. Then it also refers you, if you will go look, it's at the other permitted things, any use, look at 15.61 there. Any use in which is first permitted in the M2 district or which is prohibited in the said district under subsection 16.62. And if you will turn to that, you will see that 16.62 says pretty much the same thing. No use shall be permitted or authorized to be, well, you want 16.61, I'm sorry. Dwellings and residents of any kind, including motels, motels, manufactured home parks, schools, hospitals, clinics, and other institutions for human care, except where incidental to a permitted permissible use. Provided, however, that any of those aforesaid uses legally existing in the M2 district at the time of the adoption of this resolution or any amendment thereto shall not be classified as a non-conforming use as defined in section 4.34. Mr. Kolb, I ask your assistance on this, please.
Is that Mitch Sauerland's old property?
It's Mr. Street's paving company, yes.
Okay.
All right, I ask your assistance on this because I don't want to be shown that I am actually picking on these people. I'm not,
Okay.
okay? I've had numerous people call me on this particular variance, okay? All right, so if you and I can meet and talk about how, and you, if you would at least approach them again and everything else, I would appreciate it, okay? All right? Sure. All right, enough said on that. All right, I turn it over to Ted for his violations. He has a report for you there.
Dale and I went to a conference up in Columbus, and there was a lot of things that were discussed about cars, vacant lots, and, you know, all kinds of trash around. Some of the things that they came up with that they said we really need to have kind of in place before we kind of go after people. We need to have a towing company that is willing to tow vehicles off somebody's private property at their own expense, unless the township wants to pay it to do it. And they do say there are companies that'll do it, but you want to hold harmless everyone that sits up here and the township with that company, because they can come back and sue you. So the towing company would have to go after a salvage title for the vehicle, because the people probably aren't going to give it to them. So we need to come up with something that we can do with that before we go, you know, going after people. Because like they said, you're just spinning your wheels, you're not getting anywhere. So that's something we got to address. And then Dale's also, the other thing they say we have to have in the letters that we send them, there has to be a letter with an appeal process. If we don't have the appeal process and we go to court, they're going to throw it out of court.
This comes from a appellate court decision in Claremont County concerning that very issue. Right. It fell out that the zoning person in Claremont County who along with the Claremont County had filed against this resident in a violation of use, that they did not, in the two letters that they sent to the person, did not give any kind of an appeal process, okay, and everything else. I have that verbiage, and I have done it in several of them. I just need to pull it out of one, and we just put it in
It's just going to be
form.
Across the board, every
Again.
letter that goes out has to have it. And if not, it can get thrown out. You have to have it in every communication, is what they were saying. And then the other thing that we found out, which I found out inadvertently by one of the you can actually notify the mortgage holder of the property if there's abandoned vehicle. And they can pressure the people. So that was interesting. There's a couple of ones here that were status letters that I had sent out. that we could
Before you get into that, I got a couple questions on this. As far as the towing or removal of abandoned or inoperable vehicles, remember when we talked, when we went through the whole process of bringing you on board about getting a step-by-step procedure of what we're gonna do? So I would think towing would be the last thing we would do. So I think we need to send the letters, and I agree, put that verbiage in that's needed and everything, but, and we can look at tow truck or towing companies, but I think that would be our last ditch effort.
Hey, Ted,
You have to have them under contract before you go into court.
hey, Ted, excuse me a second. Take your mic up just a little bit closer and get it under your collar.
Is that better?
Yeah,
No, I forgot to turn it on.
okay.
But from what they were saying up there is you need to have it in process, because if you go to court and you don't have a towing company, they're gonna throw it out.
Okay.
Because they said they do it, and it's like, you got 72 hours. So you got a 72-hour window to go get that car and get it off the property.
After you get like a court order?
Yeah, it's a court order, it's 72
So
hours.
we're not just gonna inadvertently just go on somebody's property and take the tow
Oh, no,
vehicles?
we have to go to
No,
court.
Okay, that's
That, we have to go to
question.
court, but from what they were saying up there, the people that we were talking to were all lawyers. And they said, the best process is to have everything set up before you go in the
Okay.
door. So that's the reason that we want to make sure we have somebody that we can go, okay, we're gonna do this, and then it's just a process, it's part of the process, you just go forward. Because if we wait and then, they said if you don't pull it in 72 hours, you gotta start all over. So,
Okay.
that's the process. So we need to do that. That, in my opinion, that's one of the, we just have to follow every step.
Okay,
So then,
understood.
so, any other questions on that?
Nope.
Good. So, there was a couple of the ones that I had already gotten, that I'd sent letters out to. The 5309 Lehigh was a hot one, because there's been other issues up there with cars and mercury and everything. I did speak to the lady myself. She called in, was upset about the letter, called in, I spoke to her. She just wants to make sure that she's following everything. She has moved the truck. The truck is operable, it runs, it's tagged. She didn't tell me if she had insurance, that's not our problem. But it's operable and it moves. She's got parts supposedly in the front yard that she's covering with a tarp until her son comes back. Her son is actually supposedly out getting a welding certificate for underwater welding. But he's gonna be back in late December, first part of January. And then she said they'll go through all that stuff and get rid of it. And so I talked to her with that. She said I told her that we'll be back in January. I said, I'll be knocking on your door. So anyway, so then the one down here, 6273 on Cincinnati Brookville, the one with the orange truck that sat there for 4 or 5 years, looked like the abandoned house, that truck's gone. And I actually sent that letter to the mortgage holder, because the guy that was living there didn't own the property, the bank owned it. So I sent it to them, and it was gone within a little more than a week, and it's
Yeah,
gone
he
now.
went one step above what I had done,
Yeah.
because I had done the same thing. He sent it
Yeah.
directly to the CFO.
Yeah, I Googled it. But I did find out we can do that, so that's a process that we can do. We just gotta find out who some of these houses belong to.
Yep.
Some of the other ones, the Chapel Road one, there was one car that was sitting down there that looks like it was sitting there forever, and there was weeds growing up around it. There's tire marks that moved it. It's not sitting in the same spot. The bus is still there, the one truck is still there, so I think that we need to send her another letter and then get the verbiage, put it in there with that, so forth, and then try the whole process again. And then the same way with the one at 6193, the little green car down here that's been there forever. I found out a couple of things. That guy's very hard to get a hold of. He's got multiple addresses. And I found another address that he's got that we're gonna send a letter to. But he just purchased another property here in Hamilton County, or Butler County, and he's got current things that are on him where he's done the same thing in Hamilton, and Hamilton's taken him to court, and they filed out warrants against him to get him cleaned up. So, same people. So He's an habitual.
Is that the MGB?
MGB.
Yeah, he's a habitual type person, so he's doing it not just on us, he's got places all through Hamilton he's doing it too. So I kind of tracked that down. And then some of the other ones that, new ones that he'd given me that were 3872 Shoaling. Shaneling, okay. I drove back by that location a couple times. That guy's working on cars there. I don't know if they're vacant cars or abandoned, but he's been working on them, moving them around. The property does need to be cleaned up, so I got to talk to Dale about what we're going to address with him. Other than the fact that it's like, you know,
Everything.
it can't really go after him just for a car sitting there that he's moving around. I don't know if he's working on them or not. But there's quite a few of these that he just given me that look like people are running businesses out of their houses, repairing cars, trucks, or whatever. So I got to talk to him about what we're going to do with those, because them aren't necessarily abandoned vehicles. So that's something that me and him are going to work together on. So other than that, that's kind of what I got. So.
Okay, moving to number 3 on my list. The sale of the Waldorf Farm, it's sold in 3 parcels. Zoning will be asked to approve the lot splits so that they can be recorded. Eventually, that the auctioneer will be sending those over, or sending the surveyor over to get my stamp on the splits. As you can see on the plat that I gave you, it is 3 properties, okay? Actually, will probably be 4 splits. I'm not sure what they're doing about the Shaw place, which runs kind of in that L shape in the middle, beside the Rogers there, and everything in that respect. I understand that a farmer in the township bought the 136 acres for 1.16 mil or something like that, and that the 59 acres, which is has the 400 foot of frontage on Lehigh Road, was sold for $525,000. The 16 acres sold for 325 or somewhere in that range, right, Tom? I think it was.
I think it was 300.
300?
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere in the 300 range, anyway, which brings the total to a little over 2.1 million, close to it, if, in my calculation, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the 59 acres, the bit larger parcel on that fronts Lehigh, but I understand that a gentleman farmer is going to make it his gentleman's farm for the 16 acres because of the pond. Now, it's really interesting on the lot line for the 16 acres. It takes a curve and follows the little blue stream through there and around the pond. And that's the lot line for that. If you can see all the little dots there on the line, that is the lot line. Okay, so it's going to be quite a description of that particular lot because all of those little points represent a distance that has gone through. Any questions on that or any thoughts?
No, I did hear that the farmer that's living in the buildings was going to buy that part. Or had already bought that part.
Had already bought that part. Either way, I should see a split out of it as well, okay? If I don't, then I'll question why it's not, Okay. Zoning Commission, we met and approved to send to the BCPC new amendments to the resolution concerning subdividing tracts or parcels in the township. I also spoke to Jack Grove today about it, and I will be sending that verbiage over to him for kind of working it again in case the Zoning Commission has missed something. I have until, I think it's around Thanksgiving Day to get that over to the BCP and everything too in terms of that. The BZA, we still have not received any applications for variances. I am setting a meeting date in December yet to be determined to give them a year-end review. The land use meets November the 18th, and the Miami students will be presenting their work, okay? I would like to ask for an executive session on a motion for approving the alternates for the Zoning Commission. You have in your packet the ORC 519.04 that states the Board of Trustees may appoint 2 alternates to the commission. So before I read that resolution, I will come back from executive session after we've discussed what we want to do there.
Is it
Then
just for the commission or BZA also?
No, it's for the commission only.
BZA can have one alternate?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because I looked, it doesn't really state in the ORC about the BZA for an alternate, but I think we can have one. All right? So I do need the executive session for personnel reasons. And that's, any other questions or thoughts?
Do you want to do that right now?
We
Because
could
this
do
shouldn't
that.
take a few minutes and
It
then we
shouldn't.
come back out?
Sure.
Is that correct?
That's fine.
Yep, should take just a few minutes just to discuss, okay? All right.
All right, let me get this sheet. Okay, so it's 7:45. I'll make a motion to go to executive session for number 1, which is to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee and/or official.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, so just need this. Shouldn't be but a minute. We'll be back out. Good?
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion at 7:52 to come out of executive session.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, Dale.
Okay, I seek a motion to approve Brandon Jackson as alternate number 1, and Bankert as alternate number 2 to the zoning commission for 3-year terms beginning January 1st, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2024. I'm not on. I just realized that. Should any sitting commissioner resign from the commission, then one of the, then alternate 1 would move to the commission and fill the remaining term of the commissioner leaving. Alternate number 2 would move up to alternate number 1.
So did you name who's alternate 1 and alternate
Yes.
2?
Yes, it did in the
Okay.
very beginning.
All right.
So
I'm
moved.
reading what you had. Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Terms, can't you see that?
Congratulations.
All right,
Thank you.
Randy.
Welcome aboard.
All right, the December meeting is open still for you to come in public-wise, but officially you will be alternate January 1st, okay? All right. All right, that's all for me unless there's anything else.
I believe that's it. All righty. Ms. Cox.
Whoa. Excuse me.
I'm trying to write this stuff down. I need approval for a PO to Lebanon Citizens National Bank for the fire station bond installment payment in the amount of $35,218.13. It's due December 1st, 2021. It will be from Fund 2111, which $18,200 is principal and $17,018.13 is interest.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved. I also need approval for a PO to Butler Rural Electric Cooperative Incorporated in the amount of $1,200. That will be for the payment of service through the end of 2021.
So moved. Second.
Who did first? Cole? Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved. Okay. Also, I wanted to run this by you guys it's a request for a resolution regarding reimbursement of mileage.
This should have been done in January. We do it every year,
Oh, okay.
just so you know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, it's, I want to say we did it either January or December
usually
for
the end
this
of
year.
December.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, we usually do it the last meeting in December.
And we do whatever the federal
okay.
mileage is.
So you just keep it a running tally then?
How do you want it turned in other words?
What do you want it turned in? Monthly?
Yes, monthly would
Okay.
be
Monthly?
good.
Monthly?
Like with your last
Time card?
time card for the month. That would be great. Okay, good deal, thank you. That's all I have.
I don't have anything for tonight.
Mr. Brucker?
I've already gave my pitch for the promotional.
All right. So the Girl Scouts were going to come tonight, but one of the girls was sick, so they've canceled. They're going to try to make it at the next meeting, so we'll do the pictures then, and when they did that. Also, I upped the CW barbecue for the Township Association meeting to 45, because I'm already right at roughly 30 showing they're going to come.
Good.
And you know, some people don't always, so we went to 45, and then I've got the drinks and that. Me and Rob's gonna drop off down there, put in the refrigerator tonight. So we'll have that ready to roll.
And that's Thursday night.
And that is Thursday night. So, any other questions, anything else? And Mr. Huff, congratulations, and Mr. Cole, congratulations.
Thank you.
Turn the pages, so maybe it's there.
Anything else?
No?
Anybody else got anything?
condolences to you.
Nope, okay. So your neighbor, so it would be Tina?
If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.